Hey, what's up guys? This is Josh from Upright Health here with Matt, and we are here today to talk about tight hip flexors. Now, one really easy way to tell if you have tight hip flexors is if your hip can't extend all the way.
So like, thinking about the hip joint, we're looking at that angle, my torso to my femur, and this is hip flexion, and I'm stuck in it.
So Matt is stuck in hip flexion, okay? So when we see that, we know for sure that we need to add some hip extension by giving those hip flexors some length, right? So sometimes you may feel like you have really tight hip flexors, but if you can reach full hip extension, then it may just be something else going on in there. If you're actually short in the hip like this, like Matt is, and it's flexed, then we have to try to attempt to lengthen these hip flexors, okay? So this was actually from a client that has been coming in for a couple weeks now, and he is just like this. He's stuck in hip flexion. Maybe not this dramatic.
Not this dramatic. My low back right now is burning. It's only been a couple minutes, but wow.
Yeah. Well, this is gonna be tough on your body, right? And it's gonna come with a whole host of problems. So first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna get Matt doing just a basic hip flexor stretch. So what he's gonna do is just put one knee down here on the pad, and here, you can hold on to this, Matt. Whew. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to push this hip forward to add length and open up this hip flexor region, okay? So Matt can also squeeze his butt a little bit here. When he squeezes the butt, that creates more hip extension, and we're gonna have him sit here for a minute. So just go ahead and wait. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to make him do the whole minute right here.
This will be like a cooking show. We can just get to when it's done.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
And a minute.
Done.
Okay,
Yeah.
So we've been doing this with this client, and this is great, right? You have to stretch the hip flexors when they're short. But I think what's really important to do in combination with this, and I like to do it actually just right after we have them stretched, is establish some of this hip flexor length that we've just tried to gain here with doing some type of hip extensor exercise. So I'm gonna have Matt just hop on his back and do a glute bridge. This is probably the simplest hip extension exercise that you can do. So like we said, the hip flexors are short. Now Matt's just gonna push his hips up. He's gonna squeeze the butt, and we're trying to establish that hip extension here. So as you can see, now he's taking that position that we've been trying to get through stretching, and we're reestablishing it, and we're saying, hey, I have this range of motion here, right?
Right, so if the hip flexors were still super short, then I might only get to like here, right? If these are still blocking me, I'm just stuck, right? So once these are stretched out, then I can activate enough here to actually push me way up, or to where I need to be.
Exactly. So let's get back up. Let's hop back in the stretch again, Matt.
Yep.
So this is a sample of like something that we might actually just do. So we stretch the hip flexors, we do a glute bridge to activate the hip extensors. Now we stretch the hip flexors again. And what's next? Let's do a little bigger hip extension activity, which is going to be a deadlift, okay? So Matt can hop up. He can grab this kettlebell. And now we're doing a lot bigger of a movement, but he's really gonna put an emphasis on bringing those hips all the way through and trying to get that hip extended, okay?
Yeah, so we've had actually a number of clients in the last couple of years who've been kind of stuck in this position, and stretching is helpful for sure, but you know, like we're trying to demonstrate here, if you can turn on the muscles to get the hip extension, it's gonna help a lot in keeping the hip flexors from jamming you up, right? So we really wanna turn on these muscles of the backside so that you can achieve this. Once this lets you, you wanna be able to achieve that upright position.
Whew, perfect. So that's just a little example of something that's been going on here, and something that we like to do here is we always wanna use stretching, tissue work, and exercise activation in combination, right? That's always, we find, that always pretty much gives us the best results with our clients.
Yep. So definitely you want to integrate some sort of activation work to make sure you can use the range of motion that you're trying to establish. And a lot of times that helps loosen up the stuff that may seem like it's stopping you from getting there. So
Yeah.
it can't just be tissue work. It can't just be like self-massage. It can't just be stretching. You have to make sure your body has the strength to get you to where you're trying to get it to go.
Yeah. And I think you'll be surprised at how much, if you have short hip flexors, turning your glutes on will actually increase the hip extension that you can get.
Yeah.
And it'll help relieve some of that tight hip flexor.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys, that's the video. If you want to see more exercises, we have a big exercise library, over 180 exercises, and we also do a member Q&A over at Upright Insider. We will link that on the screen. Be sure to check it out, and remember that pain sucks.
Life shouldn't.
If you enjoyed this video, then please like and comment. And be sure to subscribe to Upright Health for more great content in the future.